face and say hello and know them, you know, and be able to be in their own environment. You know, have a beer with them occasionally. Know their families, know them by name, that sort of thing. Know what's happening in their lives without prying. You know, but have a pretty general idea of what they're doing with their life. Then you're in the wrong business.
Have you delved into the world of sports psychology, or have you ever got guys on board to go through that with you, or talk to the team?
Yeah, I think there's a big improvement. Like, you know, the consistency of the game often revolves around their mental preparation. There's no doubt, and their mental state. Physically, we do a lot of work with them today. We've got specialists, and we work very, very hard physically on their strengths and speed and so on, and plus their skills and so on. But at the end of the day, it's what they're thinking and how they react to circumstances and things is the important thing. It's why sport is so unpredictable. You know, you know, the favourite regularly gets beaten in sport because of that. They're not prepared and so on. So there is a big area of improvement in that. I suppose most coaches are amateur psychologists, and you develop a feel for those things. But like all professional sport these days, you bring more specialists in these areas. It's important, you know, to make sure that you don't miss something in that area. However, getting the right person is very important. Again, I trust the coach more than I trust anyone. And so when they start having to deal with a lot of other people, it is a worry for some of them about you know, giving out information that they don't want to give out, and revealing themselves to people that they don't necessarily, you know, trust. In sports psychology, I've found that if the guy or the woman misses it in the early part, they've never got them. You know, if they come in and for some reason they just don't come across as the right type of person, then they lose a lot. Sports psychology is an individual thing. I found that dealing with them as team, there are a number of little tricks that you can do with a group. You know, however, I really believe that the success of sports psychs has been with one-on-ones. Some people are more. Sports psychology evolved from the fact that they looked at this player and this player, similar players, but this bloke was a champion and he wasn't. Why? You know, so they're trying to find out what drives this player over here. And so often that player doesn't need sports psychology, but you don't need to change what he's doing. But this guy over here will respond greatly to it, and so this is the guy you want. So in a team of, you know, 17 people, there might be 5 or 6 people that really will respond to it, and I think it's more an individual thing. There are some things as a group you can do, but if we're talking about the individual today, which we are, I think sports psych is very much into the individual. I know David Furner at Canberra, tell a little story, 1994, start of the season, David was in and out of the team and regularly not picked. You know, there were some issues with him and so on, and I felt sports psych would be good for him. I worked with Galen Clues down there, who did some work with David on a one-on-one. Regularly, he got very confident in working with us. She would report to me about what was going on, and I would report to her about what I thought he needed to do. So we worked in that sort of way. David, by the end of the year, was a regular, won the grand final, won the Churchill medal, went on to a kangaroo tour. So that's probably the most dramatic example in my career of a player that's with sports psych has gone from here to here in one season. So his performances just became so consistent, which is the thing about what sports psych you're looking for, is to get consistency out of players. And he was probably the best example I had.
As far as a team situation with your management, you've got a team around you in as much as you've got to start, assistant coaches and so forth. You expect them to be skilled in the management side of things, because it's all right you being there, but they're dealing with the other guys too.
Yeah, well, again, most of the coaches and trainers and so on have a feel for the players, and they have a feedback thing happening all the time in their own field. For instance, the conditioning staff are always dealing with the players about their conditioning, but in doing that, they also get a relationship developed with each player about who can train to what level, attitude to it and so on. So there's always that that understanding of that side of the play. Medical staff are the same, who can play with an injury, who can't. So, you know, who are a little tougher than others in that regard. Who you've got to push a bit and who you've got to put your arm around. So, yeah, they're all got their own little areas, and feedback from in coaches' meetings, and which includes your staff, all these things are discussed. So you have a fair idea of the personality of the player, his ability to handle situations, how he reacts to things, when he's, when things are not going well for him, when things are really tough at training, how he reacts and so on. The staff generally, all of a sudden there's a sort of a picture painted of the player, so you have a fair idea of your strengths and weaknesses of each athlete.
So just summing up, Tim, is there a limit to man management, or is it just an ongoing work? Each year you learn something more?
Oh, it's ongoing. I don't think there's ever a stop to it. There's no doubt about that. Because they mature, they grow as they get older. Their needs change, and of course, motivating people is around their needs. And when they first come in, for instance, it's just to make first grade. Once they make first grade, it's winning a competition. Once they've won a competition, maybe it's representative football. Once they've represented, there's always, what else, where are we going from here? What's going to spark me? Meninga came in to see me when he'd made 3 kangaroo tours and we'd won back-to-back premierships. He played for Queensland. What else was there to do? So those sort of things. He's 30. I can't remember now. 32 years of age or something. So trying to get some reason for him to continue to play and turn up and train and punish himself at the in the training park was something that he was really battling with at the time. So it doesn't matter what age they are, what experience level. It's always an ongoing thing.
They all walk different lines, don't they, Tim? And then on Saturday and Sunday you got to try and make them walk the one line together. Yeah,
it is. As I say, it's the secret. But of course, if you could bottle it, if you come up with exactly the right ingredients, it's always changing. That's the thing. Again, the personality. Today's generation, for instance, compared to 2 generations ago where I started coaching, they're a different group of kids, a different group of people again. It's amazing how over the years we're different from our grandparents. So after another couple of generations, they're a different breed of kid again. And they come straight from school into professional sport. Things at school have changed. Discipline at school, discipline at home has changed. I went through the good old Christian brother, Morris brother, got a strap if you needed it type of system, and they don't do these sorts of things now. And so discipline. Sometimes the first discipline they run into is in professional sport, in their sport, where they've actually got to turn up on time and they've got to do all these little things that aren't required at school now anymore, let alone at home. So there's lots of things that are continually changing, but it's a challenge, and it's a challenge that it makes it, every morning you wake up with something new to do. So I suppose in many ways it keeps you young in that regard, but it also greys you too by the same token, because the issues that you can often find out too late. I wish I'd have known that before the game or before this week and so on. There's always one slides past you, and you're forever trying to make sure that you've dotted the I's and crossed the T's in each of those areas, but walking that fine line of not trying to overcoach. You need to know and need to direct them. You need to be able to know what's going on in their heads, the issues they've got, and is that going to affect their football, which it will obviously in their preparation that week, and you need to be on top of all of that without actually interfering and jumping into their lives too hard. Anyway, it's a balance that you continually strive to find.
Well, Tim, it's a fascinating subject. We could talk for hours. Look, thanks for your input anyway. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Good, mate.
Thanks.